Welcome to Create, Build, Manage, the Entrepreneur's Toolbox.
Welcome to Create, Build, Manage on BizTV. I'm Kelli Phillips. Today, Michael Reeder tells us about his CPA group and how his entrepreneurial mindset helps businesses in critical areas like entity setup, tax optimization, and funding strategies. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Create, Build, Manage. He describes himself as an entrepreneurial CPA. What exactly does that mean? Michael Reeder joins us now with details. And Michael, an entrepreneurial CPA, easy for me to say. What exactly is that?
Hey, Kelli, it's great to be with you here today. So an entrepreneurial CPA is the difference between a tax preparer and a tax strategist, right? And so when most people think of a CPA, certified public accountant, they think of someone who prepares taxes, and that's part of what we do. But where the real value is in the stuff that we talk about with our clients throughout the year. That's where the magic happens. That's where the tax savings happens. So we're at my CPA firm, Reeder CPA Group. We're not just tax preparers, we're tax strategists. And within that, it's implied that we prepare taxes, but we do more than that. We talk strategy throughout the year with our clients that leads to tax savings, and that tax strategy conversation leads to all different areas of business, because at the end of the day, we're more like the relationship between me and my firm and my clients. It starts in the context of tax planning, tax preparation, tax savings, etc. But I'm a business owner just like all of my clients. So I'm in the trenches every day as a business owner, just like them. And so I bring that entrepreneurial spirit to my CPA practice.
You're in the trenches, so to speak, just like the other business owners that you help. Give us a little bit of your background and how you actually got to this point.
Absolutely. So I own the CPA firm that hired me out of college. So I'm 38 years old. I've been in public practice as a CPA for about 14 years now. And so we have an office in Chicago and also in the Portland, Maine area. I relocated to Portland, Maine back in 2021 with my family. And so we've, over the last 14 years, I've been in public practice, but for the past 10 years, I've carved out a niche for myself as a CPA in the franchise industry. So I work with a lot of franchisee businesses. And I meet the franchisees when they're going through the franchise buying process. And so this is the niche that has really, taken off for me and my firm over the last decade, is meeting these, prospective franchise buyers, right? These business buyers, when they're going through the business buying process and they have questions about entity structure strategy, funding strategy, tax strategy, all these questions that are pertinent to a new business owner. And my nationwide network of franchise professionals, when they're working with their franchise buying candidates, and the candidates, start to have these questions, they connect them to me. And I dive deep on free consultation calls with them. I answer all their questions, provide a lot of value, and then several of them become clients of my firm once they end up investing in the franchise. So I've been a CPA in public practice for the last 14 years. I own the firm that hired me out of college, originally from Chicago. And this niche as a CPA in the franchise industry is what I've really been doing predominantly over the last 10 years.
What's interesting to me is you mentioned free consultation. You don't find that these days. What is the benefit for you in doing that and offering that for your clients?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, in my industry, it's recurring revenue. If my firm engages with a client, that client is going to stick around year after year after year after year, right? Because there's two things in life that are certain, right? Kelli, I think we know the answer there, right? Death and taxes.
Taxes and death.
Right. Exactly. And so, so I I'm in it for the long term with my clients, right? So like I am all about giving upfront value for free with no expectation of anything in return. There are even times when I'll have like, 2 or 3 free consultation calls with a prospective buyer if they need it, whatever I can to provide upfront value. And then, like I said, like a strong retention rate. Several of these, entrepreneurs, once they buy their business, they become a client of my firm. And when they become a client of my firm, they become a client year after year after year for income tax planning, income tax preparation, and potentially bookkeeping, payroll, sales tax as well. So because of the nature of my business, I see the value in providing that free consultation up front because of the year over year relationship.
And that's what you're doing. You're building those relationships. Now, I know starting a business, that can be pretty exciting, but how does strategic tax planning fit into like the early stages? Why is it so important?
It's a great question. So when I have these phone calls with these prospective buyers, they're getting referred to me from my nationwide network of franchise professionals, right? I have a nationwide network of third-party franchise consultants and also franchisors. And so when these buyers, a lot of times these buyers are coming out of the corporate world and their relationship with income taxes up until that point, and this is not all of them, but a lot of them are savvy entrepreneurs already in one way or the other. But, a lot of them just, corporate W-2 employee, TurboTaxing their taxes easy. But, when they come into the world of business ownership, it's a whole new world. Especially when it comes to taxes, the tax code is written for the self-employed. There's so many different chapters of the Internal Revenue Code that open up to self-employed, right, to business owners. And so when it comes to the thing that we talk about the most on these free consultation calls, these prospective franchise buyers, is entity strategy and funding strategy. So that's we approach it from the angle of strategic tax. And so with that being said, S Corp, LLC, C Corporation, and then funding, SBA loan, something that's called a Rob C Corporation. There's so many, we approach, hey, Mike, how should I structure my entity and how should I fund my entity? We approach those two questions. And like I said, those are the two topics that we talk about. Like I've got a proof of, over 1,000 of these types of conversations over the last decade with buyers. And the things that we talk about the most on the calls are entity structure strategy and funding strategy for their new business. And we approach those two topics from the angle of strategic tax. And so that's why, because how your entity is structured has lots of ramifications on how you're going to be and on how it's going to impact you from an income tax perspective.
How difficult is it to get those business owners to change their way of thinking due to how their entity is set up for tax purposes?
That's a great question because, where the magic happens in that context is when I have the first free consultation call. I dive into them. I always get context on what I call 3 buckets when I talk to any business buyer, right? Bucket number 1, what's your investment level? Right? Like what business are you investing in and what's the amount initial plus the first 12 months, right? What's the investment level? Number 1. Number 2 is what's the allocation of your assets on your personal financial statement, right? Cash, other liquidity, real estate, and retirement. And then bucket number 3, what is your household income and expense situation? Are you going to be working a corporate job and doing the business semi-passively? Are you going to be owner-operator? Do you have a spouse that works? Do you not have a spouse? Do you have, are you a military vet with a military retirement and VA disability? Do you have rental income, et cetera? And what's your cost of living? All of these things. So once I get context on those 3 buckets, right? Investment level, allocation of assets on personal financial statement, and household income and expense, then I get it all on a piece of paper, right? All just written down on a piece of paper, and they're all attached at the hip. They're all attached at the hip, right? Like I can talk to person A, and after I get their 3 buckets, I'll see it, and then I'll advise them to go a certain way in terms of entity structure and funding, and then person B another way, different than person A, and so. But where the magic happens is when I explain to them, hey, if you structure this way, and you're going to have, and you're still working that, you still have, 10 months of that W-2 job that you no longer work at. that was six figures, but you're going to have this, brick and mortar, startup loss, and we're going to structure as an LLC, tax as a partnership, so that loss is going to flow through to your personal return. Mr. or Mrs. Business Buyer, that's going to result in a $25,000 tax savings in 2024. It's just like, $25,000. It's like, that's going to get your attention, And so, like just tying it all together and explaining it to them in layman's terms, really mapping it out, like that's the type of, what my process has been, proving over the last 10 years. Like I said, over my proof of work over the last 10 years, having this conversation with so many business buyers is that, this is the type of, value added advice that they need when in the context of entity structure, strategy, funding strategy, tax planning for small businesses that, they're just, seem to be not getting anywhere else during this crucial phase, of buying a business.
And it's all confusing, but you explain it so well, and I'm sure that's why your clients stick with you year after year. We've got lots of other things to talk about, so Michael, if you don't mind, hang around. We'll be back for another segment right after this. We're back with Michael Reeder to talk a little bit about tax season. I know we all love a tax season. Michael, why do you think tax season feels so overwhelming to so many people when we're talking about owning a business?
Well, taxes are stressful. When it comes to owning a business, although the tax code is written for the self-employed, it still gets more complicated when you're a business owner and you're self-employed when it comes to taxes versus just being a W-2 employee, right? We're getting to we could already be there, but like, if we're not there, we're almost there. When it's just like, if all you are, if your taxes just consist of like a W-2 and like mortgage interest, like no joke, like AI can do your taxes. Like I can confidently say that.
That's easy.
But yeah, exactly. And it gets more complicated though when you're self-employed. And so, it's a combination of, everything that goes into it, because you have to have bookkeeping, and your books need to be updated. And then your updated books need to go to the tax preparer, and the tax preparer needs to prepare the taxes. And then the nature of the tax industry of taxes is stressful because of deadlines, right? You have March 15th is the deadline for S Corps and partnerships. April 15th is the deadline for personal returns and C Corps. And then they can get extended to September 15th and October 15th, respectively. And so, deadlines stress people out, taxes stress people out, and so the status quo of the industry is not, it's suboptimal, as I say, because and then this gets back to being a tax strategist versus just a tax preparer. Because when the status quo of the industry is, hey, I'm a client and I own a business. And my relationship with my accountant is I just see them like once a year in March or April, and I dump 12 months of bank statements and credit card statements on them, and it's a rush job to like get it done just to see where I stand. There's lots of unknown. There's lots of anxiety. Am I going to owe? Am I going to get a refund? I have no idea. And it's just a really stressful exercise. And that's why I get, the way that we work with our small business owner clients is we have a monthly retainer model, for core service of income tax preparation, business, personal, and income tax planning. So we're talking with our clients throughout the year. And not only are we talking with them throughout the year, but, the books are getting updated throughout the year. We're running tax projections throughout the year. So a lot of the times when a lot of my clients, go into the holiday season, right? Like they already know where they stand, whether they owe money or not. And if they owe money, we brought it down, we brought it from here down to here. But at least they know where they stand, right? There's no surprises. So when you roll into January, February, March, there's no surprises. The books are already done. Taxes have already been paid in. Certain things have already been done between, throughout the year through, year end, right? Because like once you get to March, April, and you're just kind of scrambling, there could have been, multiple strategies that you could have implemented, but it's too late because you had to do them by December 31st of the prior year. And so you left money on the table. And so it's like, because it's all about being proactive and having a dialogue throughout the year. And in that, the books are getting done throughout the year. Tax planning is getting done throughout the year. So you go into the holidays, you go into the first few weeks of the new year with no surprises. And when you have no surprises and you feel and you have a sense of order and control, that results in less stress and less anxiety.
How do you get people to understand not to wait till the last minute to actually strategize throughout the entire year, and they're going to end up saving money in the long haul?
Oh, it's a great question. I mean, everything that I just said, to be honest, Kelly, it's just, challenging because at the end of the day, like, value is subjective, right? You either see the value or you don't. So there's always going to be that segment of the market that just views tax preparation as this commoditized thing. And that's just a segment of the market, and that's fine. And so, like, they're not, whether they're business owners or not, like that's really not, like, I'm not going to spend, too much time and energy trying to convince that client, because that client views, relationship with CPA as like this commoditized thing. Like, they probably are better suited going to like an H&R Block and nothing against it. It's a different type of model. But for the clients that see the value, or the ones that, want to see the value and just need to be educated more about it, it's just everything. It's just a matter of just understanding, hey, taxes is more than this thing that we do every once per year in March or April. Like, taxes is an ongoing conversation, especially when you're a business owner, because I can tell you, for example, like right now, I know that this is going to be for, when people are watching this, it's going to be Q1 of 2025. But like right now, as we're recording this, everyone, Kelly and I, it's in the fourth quarter of 2024. And I can tell you that I'm busier in the fourth quarter of 2024 than I am throughout, regular tax season, because of all the planning that we're doing right now. And so, and all the money that we're helping save our clients in taxes. And so, just really conveying, really preaching, really emphasizing to clients, hey, let's have a dialogue throughout the entire year, because it's going to leave, it's going to result in thousands and thousands of dollars of tax savings. Usually when you put a dollar sign next to it, it gets people's attention.
A big dollar sign at that.
Right.
Now, for entrepreneurs and small business owners, managing taxes, it can pretty much feel like a no-win. I mean, you're stuck with this DIY software, may not address your unique needs, and larger accounting firms, they feel so out of reach. Why do you think the traditional tax and accounting industry falls short for these business owners, and how can they get the support that they need? It sounds like, what you offer is what businesses really need, but there's one of you.
Right. Well, it's a great question. And you're really touching on a passion point of mine, Kelly. I appreciate you bringing it up. There's a problem in the accounting and tax industry today, and I'm trying to solve it with my team. And that's, we're trying to get a little better each day, every day is an opportunity to improve. But the problem in the industry is that you have, again, first, you have so much of the market just views taxes as this commoditized thing, tax preparation, just, once a year, I won't beat a dead horse. I've talked about that multiple times thus far. But so what it is, there's a huge underserved component of the market that I'm trying to cater to. Right, because you have so many small business owners out there, right? The small business owner client, Main Street, not Wall Street, right? The Main Street client that needs more than just, hey, file my taxes in March or April, and I'll see you next March or April, right? They need more than that. The problem is, on one side of the spectrum, there are, expensive regional firms that a lot of them, the minimum for like the simplest of just like a personal return. We're not even talking about a business return, is like $1,500 to like $2,000. Like and a business return on top of that, and advisory services on top of that, and bookkeeping on top of that, and it's just out of the budget of the, a lot of small business owners, right? That's on one side. There's there's like a lot of things I'm talking about right now, right? Like, tax planning, proactive tax strategy. A lot of people might be listening to me and say, hey, that sounds great. How much is it? Like how much is that going to cost me?
How much is it going to cost me?
How much is that going to cost me? Exactly. That's over here. And then over here, you have like this, the the churn and burn, tax mills, there's a different, you walk in 30-minute interview style, there's certain, companies out there that, low cost, 30-minute interview style, maybe an hour, whatever, just low, like they're not really giving strategy that small business owners need. And then you have a lot of like smaller firms in the middle that are at max capacity. Like they can't take on any more clients, and they've just monetized their firm with the preparing the taxes, with the compliance, and they're not giving strategy, and you can barely get them to return a phone call or an email. So the problem that I wake up every day to solve, the problem that I wake up every day to try to solve in the context of what I do in my day-to-day for business is, how do I provide value? How do I provide proactive tax planning, to the small business owners out there, proactive, where they're getting tax preparation in addition, where they're getting tax strategy in addition to tax preparation, business, personal, at a reasonable fee. And so that monthly fee, and again, a client that has one business and one personal return is going to be less expensive than a client that has 5 businesses and 3 personal returns. How much tax planning do they need? But to be able to come up with a model that provides proactive tax strategy and tax planning in addition to tax preparation at a reasonable fee to small business owners, right? That is what my firm is all about. That is what Reader CPA Group is all about. And that's so that monthly retainer model, where we're talking strategy throughout the year in addition to filing taxes, is, and working with a team of professionals, all across the country, not just limiting myself to talent in the Chicago area or the New England area. I mean, we have talent in both those areas, but also, I work with, I have team members that work from their home office in the great state of Texas. I have clients all across the country. I have team members across the country. And COVID, played a big role in making it more normal to recruit outside your normal geographical area. That's another conversation for another day. It's fascinating where we are today in just the business world and remote work and how much it's become more just predominant in today's world and accepted. But all of these things that I'm saying, I know I'm saying a lot. It all comes together. It's all this is the manifestation of me trying to provide that solution to these business owners that need proactive tax planning in addition to tax preparation, at a price that's not an arm and a leg.
So, Michael, quickly, how can viewers learn more about the services that you offer?
Absolutely. So you can go to my website, readercpagroup.com. That's Reader, REEDER, CPAgroup.com. Got a lot of information on the website. We try to make it a resource hub. You can find me on LinkedIn, Michael Ian Reader on LinkedIn. I'm posting content to LinkedIn regularly. I've got a lot of followers there. And started a YouTube channel, Reader CPA Group YouTube channel, Reader CPA Group on Facebook. Go to the website, submit an inquiry, schedule a time to talk. Would love to talk to you.
Michael, thanks so much for all of your insight. We really appreciate it. And just a reminder to all of those small business owners, it's never too late to get started with this. It doesn't matter what month it is. You don't have to start at the end of the year or the beginning of the year. Just give Michael a call. Thanks, Michael. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Kelly. God bless.
Thanks for joining me today for BizTV's Create, Build, Manage. Episodes of Create, Build, Manage are available on demand on the free BizTV streaming app. Visit watch.biztv.com and get BizTV programming anytime, anywhere. Stay tuned to BizTV for more stories that educate, enlighten, and empower.